You know when your period comes and you're hit with that wave of symptoms that kind of renders you absolutely useless and nothing more than an unmoving lump on the couch? Come on, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The cramps, the nausea, the throwing up,
The back pain?
the back pain.
Yeah, the back pain. My back hurts whenever I'm menstruating, and even sometimes just before it. Like, what does my time of the month have to do with my back hurting?
That's a good question. Let's get into it. For the average menstruator, every month they experience the four stages: the menstrual stage, the follicular stage, the ovulation stage, and the luteal stage. For this particular question, though, I'll solely be focusing on the menstrual stage.
The menstrual stage is when the actual period occurs and typically lasts anywhere from 5 to 7 days, though this varies from person to person. During this time, you'll often experience some of the symptoms that our poor Amani was suffering through earlier, like cramps, bloating, tenderness of the breast, and yes, back pain. When you menstruate, your estrogen level is at one of the lowest points possible out of all four phases. This estrogen is known as estradiol, or E2, which is the second major group of four endogenous or naturally occurring estrogens. Estradiol is the most prevalent of the four and has a major influence over bone health, and having too little of it, which can happen during your period, can manifest itself in the form of lower back and pelvic pain. But having too much E2 can also lead to pain.
Now let's get a hair deeper, shall we? Along with estradiol comes another hormone known as progesterone. Now, all endogenous estrogens, like estradiol, require some sort of regulation in order to keep the endocrine and reproductive systems functioning properly, and that's exactly the role that progesterone plays. Progesterone regulates the estrogen by decreasing both the estrogen's receptor and its own receptor. These receptors are proteins that are located within cells and activated by estrogens themselves. All of these moving parts contribute to maintaining something known as bone homeostasis, or the process of self-repair of the bones. The interaction of estrogens with the receptors in the bone cells also has a direct effect on bone mineralization and stimulates the differentiation or the changing of osteoblasts, which are cells that synthesize bone. Having too little estrogen can cause your bone density to decrease greatly, which in turn can cause you to lose bone mass. When this happens, it's known as osteoporosis, and it quite commonly occurs during long phases of not experiencing your period, like menopause. All in all, your question falls into a very complex web. Menstruation is influenced by hormones. Hormones influence both menstruation and bone health, which in turn directly links menstruation and bone health, and in your case, bone pain. Does that make sense? Glad I could help.